I am a cultural Marxist, an Illuminati shill. I'm wearing my hood to hide. Yes, I'm a useful idiot to their cause. That's why I support tax cuts on the rich. I hate globalists. I love Fox News. That's right, yeah. The government's watching. The government's out to get me. The government's gonna punish me for what I say on the internet. Do I sound like someone you know? It sounds like Joseph Paul Watson. Or Paul Joseph Watson. I probably got his name wrong. It sounds a lot like that guy. You know a guy who I do really like? Captain Andy. And I mean, he gets a lot of flack. He's part of the so-called regressive crew or whatever. But at the beginning of his videos, he says, "Hello, ladies, gents, and ambies." And I was like, what's he talking about? Why does he say ambies? And here it turns out he's basically identifying that, say, hey, there could be a third sex out there that we don't normally talk about. That's like everyday speech. He's not using, like, you would use the words gender and sex. Gender meaning sociological, sex meaning biological, as a distinction, an analytic distinction in scientific work, right? It's a very good distinction, but in everyday life you don't use that distinction. That's common every day. It's not the rarefied air of academia or, labs and stuff like that, or even forms that people fill out. Go fill out a job application. Does it ask for your gender or your sex? Would it be different if they did? What if they asked for the same thing? I've gone through this before, but I think that's neat that he does that, because the word sex in everyday use, you say, oh, I had sex with that girl, or we had sex. It means something completely different in everyday use than it does in scientific context. And people argue over this stuff. How many races of people are there? Are there 3, 4, 5? Where do Samoans fit in there? Where do people from India fit in there? You see, we war over these categories. How many there are? How many dimensions are there? That's a little less charged. How many social classes are there? Is it just upper and lower social classes? Is it upper, middle class, and lower classes? What about upper middle class? Right? You see, the more technical you get, the more mature you get, the more precise your language gets, and what context you use it in. All this stuff is so crazy. We're fighting over how many categories there are of genders. Well, meanwhile, who knows what Trump's doing? I swear to God, a lot of these people have been arguing over this culture war stuff, and the thing is that there are so many worse things going on in the world. I think economic inequality is out of control. The thing is that these culture wars hide the fact that there are political wars in our country. There's class warfare going on. Donald Trump is trying to sign a bill, basically, that screws over the poor people in society. The sad thing is that their policy, basically, the Republicans, is social Darwinism. I hate to say it, but their new bill, Donald Trump spends all this money on the military. Why is he spending so much money on the military? Because he's probably going to want to go to war. That's what George Bush did. Reagan had his little skirmishes and stuff. The sad thing is that in the last century, Democrats started two of the biggest wars, really, Vietnam and, World War I and World War II, there was Democrats leading the country during that. But recently, it's been Republicans who start wars, and I'm a little bit worried. I don't know how a war is going to sell in the age of the internet, the most so-called democratic country in the world. That's a really huge issue for me. Besides all these stupid war over categories and stuff like that. It's like abortion. Does the ruling class, either filthy rich, they want our money, that's for sure. But with Republicans in office, it's hilarious when I hear Trump supporters say, I hate these globalists, I hate these elites, these cultural Marxists. That is hilarious, because you support the Republicans, people who are going to cut taxes on the rich. And I swear, they hate abortion. You know why they hate abortion, the ruling class? Because it's like George Carlin says, they want people to go to war for them. George Carlin said it too. He said, Republicans only care about you until you're fucking born. And then they don't care about all these programs for kids like Head Start, preschool, things like that for poor kids. They don't care about sending money to poor black neighborhoods or poor white neighborhoods for that matter. Maybe you should give more to poor white neighborhoods too. All poor neighborhoods. Don't discriminate. Pay them better. But that's not what Republicans do. They try to cut, and they try to build more prisons. That's what they do. It's insane. And then they try to privatize the healthcare system just like they are in Britain. And the thing is we have like the worst healthcare outcomes. We dollar for what we pay too is terrible. It's obnoxious. But boy, we need more capitalism. It's crazy. Do we admit that? Maybe there is a little bit of socialism. Maybe the left is a little bit socialist. Maybe I don't know if that is socialist, if standing up and saying it's insane. Like, my girlfriend works in a hospital, right? And she said that they inflate prices through the roof. The insurance companies and the hospitals bidding against each other. They keep people for extra procedures when they don't even need them. They send people home when they need a procedure because they don't have the money. They'll even put it out that way, or they don't have good insurance. They'll type it up that way. They'll do it that way. They'll do what they want. They will screw you over by class, or they will screw you over just because they want your money. Thing is they get you in these contracts too, like your cell phone contract or your cable contract, all that stuff. And I mean, there are options, but it's hilarious. I also hear them say, these libertarians, oh yeah, the only way monopolies can form is because of government intervention. Well, how do you explain Microsoft Windows and having dominance of the PC market for how long? They pretty much had a monopoly. We have a duopoly now in phones. It's either Apple or it's Android, pretty much. Those are the two main platforms. Microsoft Windows makes up like nothing. It's a duopoly. Comcast, how many cable providers are in your areas? What kind of service you're going to get? But maybe that's for the best. But this is how markets work. You need to look at things politically, economically, and socially. So yeah, that's just crazy. I got to put these ideas into thoughts and dialogue because I'm taking a creative writing class, and I don't know, I kind of want to write a classic in some ways. I want to write something fun. Something like Catch-22 in 1984, like a cross between them two. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't know if I could do it. It's scary, but it takes a lot of work. See you around. Subscribe, comment. Have a good one.